Welcome to the Growth Room. Today we're exploring one of the most practical books on confidence and boundaries, The Art of Saying No by Damon Zahariades. In this audiobook summary, you'll discover how to stop people-pleasing, protect your time and energy, communicate with confidence, and build healthier relationships without feeling guilty. Think about the last time someone asked you for a favor that you really didn't have the bandwidth to handle. Maybe it was a coworker asking you to take over a project when your own desk was overflowing, a friend inviting you to an event you were too exhausted to attend, or a family member demanding your time on a weekend when you desperately needed to rest. What was your immediate, instinctive response? If you're like most people, you probably heard the word yes slip out of your mouth before your brain could even register the protest screaming inside you. You said yes to avoid an awkward moment, to keep the peace, or simply because you didn't know how to refuse. But the moment that word left your lips, a heavy knot formed in your stomach. You realized you just traded your own peace of mind, your precious time, and your limited energy for someone else's convenience. This is the exact trap that productivity expert and author Damon Zahariades addresses in his transformative book. Zahariades isn't just speaking from an academic perspective. He is someone who lived the grueling reality of corporate overload and personal burnout before mastering the strategies he shares. He understands that our modern world operates like an open marketplace for our attention and time. Everyone wants a piece of it. If you do not actively guard your calendar and your mental space, others will happily organize your life for you, using your hours to fulfill their own agendas while your goals, your dreams, and your health are pushed to the back burner. But why is saying this tiny, two-letter word so incredibly difficult? Why does the simple act of refusing a request trigger a wave of intense anxiety, sweaty palms, and racing thoughts? The truth is we are socially engineered from childhood to be agreeable. We are taught that being cooperative, helpful, and accommodating is the gold standard of being a good person. From our parents to our teachers and eventually to our bosses, compliance is rewarded, while refusal is often labeled as selfish, defiant, or rude. Over time, this conditioning morphs into a deeply ingrained habit of people-pleasing. We begin to tie our self-worth directly to how much we can do for others and how well we can keep everyone around us happy. The hidden cost of this lifestyle, however, is staggering. Every single time you say a reluctant yes to someone else, you are executing a silent, definitive no to yourself. You are saying no to the gym session that keeps your body healthy. You are saying no to the evening spent playing with your kids or unwinding with a book. You are saying no to the focused, uninterrupted hours required to build your business, pass your exams, or excel in your true career path. When you look at it through this lens, chronic people-pleasing isn't an act of generosity. It is a slow, systematic sabotage of your own life. It leads straight to chronic stress, resentment, and eventual burnout. You find yourself feeling bitter toward the very people you're trying to help because deep down, you know you are allowing yourself to be taken for granted. This is why establishing clear boundaries is not a luxury or an act of arrogance. It is an absolute necessity for survival, success, and long-term happiness. Boundaries are simply the invisible lines that define where you end and where the rest of the world begins. They tell people how you expect to be treated, what you're willing to accept, and what is strictly off-limits. Without these boundaries, your life becomes a house without walls or doors. Anyone can walk right in, track mud across your carpets, disrupt your peace, and leave whenever they please. By learning the art of the intentional refusal, you build those walls. You establish a protective barrier around your mental and emotional well-being, ensuring that your limited daily reservoir of energy is spent on things that truly align with your core values and highest priorities. To completely dismantle the people-pleasing habit, we must first understand the psychological machinery running beneath the surface. Zahariades breaks down the primary drivers behind our inability to refuse, and the first major culprit is the raw fear of rejection. We are tribal creatures by nature. In ancient times, being cast out of the group meant literal death, so our brains are hardwired to seek social acceptance. When someone asks us for something, our subconscious panics. If I say no, they won't like me anymore. They'll think I'm not a team player. They'll find someone else and leave me behind. This fear makes us overly compliant, causing us to bend over backwards to ensure we remain useful to others, operating under the false assumption that utility equals safety. The second massive driver is the fear of conflict. For many of us, the idea of an argument or even a slight moment of social friction sends our nervous system into fight or flight mode. We assume that saying no will automatically trigger a dramatic confrontation, an angry outburst, or a cold shoulder. Because we want to avoid that discomfort at all costs, we choose the path of least immediate resistance. We say yes. We buy temporary peace in the short term, completely ignoring the fact that we are financing it with long-term internal turmoil. Then comes the relentless desire for approval. This is the inner need to be validated by external sources. When we don't have a solid anchor of self-worth inside ourselves, we look for it in the smiles, compliments, and thank yous of the people around us. We become validation junkies, constantly looking for the next hit of approval by solving everyone else's problems. The danger here is that your worth becomes entirely dependent on your performance for others. The moment you stop delivering, your sense of value plummets. And let's not forget the heavy weight of guilt. Guilt is the emotional weapon we often wield against ourselves. The moment we think about turning down a request, a little voice whispers, "Look how much they need you. You're being incredibly selfish. You have the time, so you should just do it." This guilt is usually driven by irrational, unwritten rules we've adopted over our lives, such as, "I must always help people whenever I am capable of doing so." Finally, all of these factors feed into and are fed by low self-esteem. When you do not value your own time, your goals, or your emotional peace, you naturally place everyone else's needs above your own. You operate under the quiet, tragic assumption that other people's agendas are inherently more important than yours. But as we journey deeper into this summary, you will learn how to turn that narrative around completely. You will realize that your time is your most valuable, non-renewable asset on this planet, and guarding it fiercely is the ultimate act of self-respect. Now that we understand the psychological roots of people-pleasing, let's pivot to the foundational solution: the power of boundaries. Damon Zahariades emphasizes that boundaries are not meant to be weapons to punish others or fortresses to cut yourself off from the world. Instead, they are structural pillars that preserve your health, focus, and identity. Think of them as a healthy fence around a beautiful garden. The fence doesn't exist because you hate everything outside it. It exists to protect the precious life growing inside. To master this balance, we need to look at the 5 distinct types of boundaries that dictate our daily experiences. The first category is personal boundaries. These define your core values, your belief systems, and your right to choose how you live your life. When you lack personal boundaries, you let other people dictate your choices, influence your values, and tell you who you ought to be. A person with firm personal boundaries knows exactly what they stand for and refuses to compromise their integrity just to blend in or satisfy someone else's expectations. The second category is emotional boundaries. This is about understanding where your emotional responsibility ends and someone else's begins. Have you ever spent your entire evening feeling stressed, anxious, or miserable simply because a friend or partner was in a bad mood? If so, your emotional boundaries might be highly permeable. People pleasers often make the fatal mistake of adopting other people's negative emotions as their own. They feel a heavy responsibility to fix everyone else's bad mood, sadness, or anger. Setting a healthy emotional boundary means realizing that while you can deeply care for someone and offer empathy, you're not responsible for managing their internal emotional state. You can support them without drowning in the deep end alongside them. Next are professional boundaries, which are under massive assault in our modern, hyper-connected workspace. With emails, instant messaging apps, and project management tools directly linked to our smartphones, work no longer stays at the office. It follows us to the dinner table, the gym, and even into bed. Establishing professional boundaries means drawing a hard line between your labor and your personal life. It means establishing clear rules around when you are available to work and when you are completely offline. If your boss or a client texts you at 9 o'clock on a Friday evening with a non-emergency request, a weak professional boundary forces you to reply instantly, showing them that your personal time has no real value. A firm professional boundary allows you to confidently let that message sit until Monday morning, setting a healthy precedent for how your time must be respected. This brings us directly to time boundaries. Time is the ultimate equalizer. Every single human being gets the exact same 24 hours a day. The main difference between those who achieve their dreams and those who spend their lives running in circles is how fiercely they guard those hours. Setting a time boundary means treating your schedule like a precious corporate asset. If you have blocked out 2 hours on a Tuesday morning to study for an important exam, write a script, or work on a business plan, that time must be treated as sacred. It is an appointment with yourself, and it cannot be canceled or interrupted just because someone else wants to have a casual chat or drop a sudden, low-priority task on your lap. The final element is energy management. Energy is completely different from time. You can technically have 8 free hours in an evening, but if your energy reserves are entirely depleted from a brutal day of saying yes to everyone, those hours are effectively useless. You will find yourself slumped on the couch, staring blankly at a screen, too exhausted to engage in self-care, hobbies, or quality time with your family. Zahariades points out that saying yes to energy-draining tasks, toxic conversations, and demanding people is like leaving all the lights and appliances running in your house all day long. Eventually, your internal power grid is going to crash. Managing your energy means identifying your unique energy vampires, the specific activities and individuals that leave you feeling entirely hollowed out, and strategically saying no to them to protect your internal spark. When you successfully integrate these boundaries into your life, you finally unlock the true art of saying no. This is where the theoretical concepts transform into practical, real-world execution. The biggest misconception people have is that saying no requires you to be aggressive, cold, or hostile. This couldn't be further from the truth. The most effective refusals are delivered with absolute politeness, radical honesty, and quiet confidence. You do not need to build a defensive wall of elaborate lies or make up fake excuses to turn someone down. In fact, spinning complex excuses usually backfires because it signals to the requester that you would do it if the obstacle weren't there, inviting them to solve the problem for you and ask again. Let's look at some highly practical techniques for saying no across various areas of life, starting with declining social invitations. Imagine a friend invites you to a weekend gathering, but you are physically and mentally exhausted from a grueling work week. A typical people pleaser might say yes, go to the party, and spend the night feeling miserable and drained. Or they might lie and say they are sick, spending the entire weekend feeling paranoid about getting caught in the lie. The assertive, respectful approach is much simpler. Thank you so much for thinking of me. I really appreciate the invite, but I've had an incredibly intense week, and I need to dedicate this weekend to resting up. Let's definitely catch up for coffee sometime next month instead. Notice what this response does. It validates the relationship, expresses gratitude, states a clear boundary without over-explaining, and offers an alternative on your own terms. Refusing extra work in a professional setting requires a similar blend of diplomacy and clarity. When your manager comes to your desk with a brand new assignment, but your current workload is already at absolute maximum capacity, saying yes blindly is a recipe for disaster. You will inevitably miss deadlines, produce subpar work, and damage your professional reputation. Instead of a flat, defensive, "I can't do that, I'm too busy," you can use a strategic prioritization framework. Try saying, "I would love to help with this project, but looking at my current dashboard, my hands are completely full with Project A and Task B. If this new assignment is the top priority right now, which of these existing projects should we deprioritize or hand off to someone else to make room for it?" This completely shifts the dynamic. You are being difficult or lazy. You are being an objective professional presenting a realistic view of resource management, forcing them to participate in prioritizing your time. Handling family requests can be even more emotionally charged because our deepest history and guilt are tied up with family members. When a relative demands your time or assistance in a way that disrupts your life, you can firmly say, "I love you, and I always want to support this family, but I cannot take this on right now because I have prior commitments I must honor. I can help you look for an alternative solution, but I cannot do it myself." By keeping your tone warm but your stance entirely unyielding, you show them that your love for them is completely non-negotiable, but your personal time is still your own to govern. Managing friendships and navigating casual social circles requires a very similar level of intentional clarity. True friends don't expect you to be at their beck and call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They respect your individuality and your need for space. When casual acquaintances or friends make demands that don't align with your availability, a direct, kind, and brief refusal is always the best path forward. For instance, if a friend asks you to help them move apartments on your only free Saturday of the month, you can confidently say, "I'm not going to be able to help you move this weekend, but I'd love to send over some lunch for the crew or help you unpack a few boxes later next week." You are offering support within your comfort zone without sacrificing your essential rest day. All of these real-world scenarios bring us directly to part 4, assertive communication. To successfully enforce your boundaries, you must master the middle ground between two highly toxic communication styles, passivity and aggression. Passive communication is the classic calling card of the chronic people pleaser. It involves speaking softly, using tentative language like "I guess," "maybe," or "if it's not too much trouble," and completely subordinating your own needs to avoid any hint of friction. Aggressive communication, on the other hand, is born out of built-up resentment. It involves snapping, yelling, using accusatory language, or demanding that your boundaries be respected through intimidation. Assertiveness is the golden mean. It is the ability to speak with absolute confidence and respectful honesty, standing up for your personal rights while simultaneously respecting the rights of others. When you speak assertively, you don't beat around the bush or apologize for your existence. You state your reality clearly, calmly, and directly. Your tone of voice plays a massive role here. It should be firm, steady, and even-paced, free of the nervous, high-pitched inflection that often accompanies a guilt-ridden refusal. Your body language must match this internal resolve. Stand tall, pull your shoulders back, maintain steady, relaxed eye contact, and avoid nervous fidgeting or defensive posture like tightly crossing your arms. One of the greatest superpowers of an assertive communicator is the ability to stay completely calm under intense pressure. When you say no to someone who isn't used to hearing it, they might try to push back, argue, or manipulate you into changing your mind. If you lose your temper or become highly defensive, you hand over control of the interaction to them. By maintaining a cool, collected demeanor, you show them that your decision is not an emotional outburst or negotiation. It is a final, settled fact. This skill becomes your primary shield when transitioning into part 5, handling manipulation. The unfortunate truth of human nature is that when you begin to build healthy boundaries, the people who benefited most from your lack of boundaries will often try to break them down. They will employ a variety of psychological tactics to make you cave, and the most common weapon in their arsenal is the classic guilt trip. A guilt tripper will say things like, "After everything I've done for you, I can't believe you're turning me down," or "If you really cared about this team, you'd find a way to make it work." Zahariades advises that the best way to disarm a guilt trip is to call it out implicitly by refusing to accept the emotional baggage they're trying to pass to you. You can validate their feelings without accepting their narrative. For example, "I understand that you're in a tough spot right now and that my refusal makes things harder for you, but I simply do not have the capacity to take this on." You don't argue with their accusation. You simply restate your reality like a solid stone wall. Emotional manipulation and peer pressure can also manifest as passive-aggressive behavior, sighing loudly, giving you the silent treatment, slamming doors, or making snide, under-the-table remarks about your helpfulness. When faced with passive aggression, never take the bait by getting passive-aggressive in return. Bring the issue directly into the light with calm, radical honesty. "I notice you seem upset with my decision. If you'd like to have a direct conversation about it, I'm happy to talk, but I won't change my answer. This immediately strip mines the power away from their covert tactics. For highly persistent requesters, the people who simply refuse to take no for an answer and keep asking the same question in 5 different ways, you could deploy the broken record technique. You do not invent new reasons or engage in a debate. You choose a single, concise phrase and repeat it verbatim with the exact same calm tone every single time they push. I understand, but as I said, I'm not able to commit to that. Eventually, they will tire themselves out against your consistency and move on. Mastering these conversational boundaries clears away the external clutter, allowing you to focus on part 6, prioritizing your life. Protecting your personal goals, managing your time, and maintaining deep focus are completely impossible if you're constantly putting out other people's fires. Every time you say yes to a distraction or a low-value commitment, you're diluting your impact. High achievers understand that focus is not about saying yes to the things you want to do. It is about saying no to 100 other good ideas so you can execute the one truly great idea in front of you. Saying no is the ultimate form of self-care. It is the tool that carves out the quiet spaces required for your mind to rest, recover, and avoid the devastating trap of burnout. Burnout doesn't happen overnight. It is the slow accumulation of 1,000 tiny concessions, 1,000 moments where you chose someone else's comfort over your own well-being. By prioritizing your life, you're taking personal responsibility for your own energy levels, ensuring that you always show up as the best version of yourself for your career, your family, and your personal development. This leads us to the ultimate destination of Zahariades' framework, covered in Part 7, Building Self-Respect. There is a beautiful, reciprocal relationship between boundaries and self-worth. When you have low self-worth, you struggle to set boundaries. But the moment you start practicing the art of saying no, even when your hands are shaking and your voice is trembling, something incredible happens inside you. You send a powerful signal to your own subconscious mind. My time matters. My energy matters. My goals are valuable. Each successful refusal acts like a deposit into your internal bank account of confidence and emotional resilience. You stop living your life by accident or looking for external validation, and you start living intentionally, steering your own ship toward the life you truly want to build. To bring these profound concepts to life, let's explore how the book's core principles apply to modern applications across various roles and demographics. The art of setting boundaries is not a one-size-fits-all formula. It adapts dynamically to the unique challenges of different life stages and professions. Take students, for instance. In a fast-paced academic environment, a student is constantly bombarded with demands, peer pressure to attend social events, group projects where 1 or 2 people end up doing all the heavy lifting, or family expectations regarding grades and career choices. A student who hasn't mastered the art of saying no will quickly find themselves overwhelmed, struggling with sleep deprivation, and watching their academic performance plummet. By establishing firm boundaries around their study hours and learning to say, "I can't hang out tonight, I need to focus on this assignment," they reclaim control over their academic destiny. For professionals, entrepreneurs, and managers, the stakes are even higher. In the corporate world, workplace overload is a rampant epidemic. Professionals face a constant barrage of low-priority meetings, endless email threads, and scope creep, the gradual, unapproved expansion of a project's requirements. An entrepreneur trying to launch a business faces the massive challenge of digital distractions and shiny object syndrome. If they say yes to every networking request, every new software tool, or every casual coffee chat, their startup will bleed out before it ever gains traction. Managers, too, must set boundaries to avoid micromanaging their teams, learning to say no to taking over tasks that their subordinates should be handling independently. Content creators face a uniquely modern challenge. Operating in the digital attention economy, they are accessible to their audience 24 hours a day. They face intense social media pressure to constantly churn out content, reply to every single comment, and maintain a perfect online persona. This lifestyle is a direct highway to creative burnout. For a creator, Saying no might look like turning off notifications after a certain hour, setting strict limits on screen time, or declining brand sponsorships that don't perfectly align with their values, even if the financial payout is high. In our personal lives, as parents, friends, and romantic partners, boundaries form the bedrock of healthy, thriving relationships. Parents often fall into the trap of self-sacrifice, saying yes to every single demand of their children or school committees until they have zero energy left for themselves. But a parent who sets boundaries teaches their children an invaluable life lesson, that self-care and self-respect are paramount. In friendships and romantic relationships, a lack of boundaries breeds toxic dynamics. When you constantly say yes out of fear of losing someone, you create a relationship built on dependency and resentment rather than mutual respect. Saying no to a partner or friend when their requests cross your lines is actually an act of deep intimacy. It shows that you trust the relationship enough to be completely honest about your limits. As we navigate these modern challenges, we must also confront specific psychological hurdles like the fear of missing out, commonly known as FOMO. Amplified by social media, FOMO tricks our brains into believing that everyone else is living a more exciting, glamorous, and successful life than we are. This anxiety drives us to say yes to events, projects, or purchases we don't actually care about, purely out of a desperate desire to stay relevant. Zahariades encourages us to reframe this mindset into JOMO, the joy of missing out. JOMO is the peaceful, empowering realization that by intentionally missing out on things that don't matter, you're actively clearing space to say a glorious, deeply impactful yes to the things that do. To help you put these concepts into active practice, Zahariades introduces the boundary building framework. This is a systematic, step-by-step methodology you can rely on whenever you find your time and peace being threatened. The boundary building framework. Know your priorities. You cannot say an effective no until you know what your true yes is. Sit down and clearly define your top 3 professional and personal goals for this season of your life. Anything that does not actively move the needle toward those goals is a prime candidate for a respectful refusal. Identify unhealthy patterns. Look back at your past week or month. Pinpoint the exact moments you felt resentful, stressed, or taken for granted. Who was making the request? Why did you say yes? Identifying your specific compliance triggers is half the battle. Communicate clearly. Eliminate the fluff. Drop the long, winding explanations and the fake excuses. State your boundaries using the assertive verbal and nonverbal techniques we've discussed. Polite, direct, and unyielding. Stay consistent. Boundaries are not a one-time event. They are a lifestyle. If you say no to extra weekend work this week, but cave completely next week, you teach people that your boundaries are flexible walls that can be broken down with enough persistence. Respect yourself. Internalize the foundational truth that your time, energy, and mental health are intensely valuable. You do not need anyone else's permission or validation to protect them. Respect others. Just as you expect others to respect your newly built fences, you must show the same courtesy to them. When someone else tells you no, accept it gracefully without pushing, bargaining, or projecting guilt onto them. By anchoring your daily decisions within this clear framework, you transform the act of refusal from a terrifying, stress-inducing event into a structured, highly predictable process. You stop reacting to the world on impulse and start responding with intentional, calibrated precision. To seamlessly weave this framework into the fabric of your daily life, Damon Zahariades outlines a series of practical daily exercises. These micro-habits are designed to build your assertiveness muscle incrementally, ensuring that you don't overwhelm your nervous system while making these powerful lifestyle changes. The first exercise is the daily boundary check. Every morning, look over your schedule and ask yourself, which commitments on my plate today are genuinely mine, and which ones did I agree to purely out of guilt or people-pleasing? This simple act of awareness helps you spot intruders in your calendar before the day even begins. Next, commit to daily assertiveness practice. This doesn't require a high-stakes confrontation with your boss. Start small. Practice stating your preferences clearly in low-risk environments. When a colleague asks where you want to grab lunch, instead of saying, "Oh, I don't care, whatever you want," say, "I'd really love to get sushi today." This trains your brain to express its desires without filtering them through the lens of what others might prefer. Another vital exercise is keeping a reflection journal. At the end of the day, spend 3 minutes writing down any moments where you successfully stood your ground, along with how it made you feel. Conversely, note the times you caved and said yes against your better judgment. Don't judge yourself. Simply analyze the data so you can recognize your triggers next time. Additionally, make it a goal to say no to at least one unnecessary commitment every single week. Whether it's an optional committee meeting, a casual favor that drains your evening, or an invitation to a social event you dread, practice the art of the clean refusal. To anchor this, implement the practice of protecting focused work time. Block out a specific window on your digital calendar, even if it's just 60 minutes, and label it Do Not Disturb. Close your email tabs, put your phone on silent, and treat this time as an unbreakable contract with yourself. Finally, establish a non-negotiable self-care routine. This isn't about luxury spa days. It's about scheduling downtime for reading, exercise, or hobbies that recharge your batteries. When someone asks for your time during these blocks, your internal answer is simple: I have a prior commitment. That commitment is to your own health. Let's look at some real-life scenarios to see exactly how these conversations play out in the real world. By observing the contrast between a people-pleasing response and an assertive response, you can map these scripts onto your own life. Real-life boundary scripts. In the workplace, your colleague drops a massive report on your desk on Thursday afternoon, saying, "Hey, I'm totally swamped. Can you proofread this and fix the formatting by tomorrow morning? You're so much better at this than I am." The people pleaser. "Oh, wow, I'm really busy too, but I guess I can stay late tonight and try to get it done for you." The assertive professional. "I appreciate the compliment on my formatting skills. However, my schedule is completely booked with deadlines for our quarterly review through tomorrow afternoon. I won't be able to review this for you this time around, but I hope you find a way to get it sorted." In college or school, a classmate texts you the night before a major group project is due. "Hey, I didn't get a chance to finish my section because my internet went down. Can you write my slides for me? I don't want us to lose points." The people pleaser. "Oh, okay, that sucks about your internet. Send me what you have, and I'll stay up and write them so our grade doesn't drop." The assertive student. "That's a tough situation with your internet, but I've already finalized and practiced my portion of the presentation. I won't be able to research and write your slides tonight. I suggest turning in what you have completed so far, or messaging the professor directly to explain the technical issue." With family, your relative calls you up on your only free Saturday of the month. "I need you to drive across town and help me clean out my garage this weekend. It's a huge mess and I can't do it alone." The people pleaser. "Oh, I was really looking forward to resting, but okay, I guess I can come over for a few hours." The assertive relative. "That sounds like a big project. I actually have prior commitments this weekend and need to catch up on some much-needed rest, so I won't be able to come over. Let me know if you decide to hire a local moving service, and I'd be happy to help you look up some highly rated options online." With friends, a friend asks to borrow a significant amount of money for the third time this year, promising they will pay you back next month. The people pleaser. "Okay, I guess I can make it work, but please try to pay me back soon because things are a bit tight for me too." The assertive friend. "I value our friendship immensely, but I have a strict personal rule against mixing money with my personal relationships. Because of that, I won't be able to loan you the money. I'm always here to grab a coffee and help you brainstorm ways to balance your budget though." Notice how the assertive responses are completely devoid of hostility, anger, or defensiveness. They don't insult the other person, nor do they offer elaborate, fabricated stories to justify the refusal. They validate the relationship, state the boundary with absolute clarity, and leave no room for negotiation or emotional manipulation. This is how you protect your peace while maintaining your relationships. As we bring this journey to a close, let's reflect on the profound truth at the heart of Damon Zahariades' philosophy. Learning to say no is ultimately about learning to value your own life. It is the definitive shift from living defensively, always reacting to the demands, whims, and agendas of others, to living offensively, where you intentionally curate your days around what truly matters to you. The biggest lessons from the art of saying no remind us that boundaries are not selfish. They are the very foundation of healthy relationships, emotional intelligence, and long-term productivity. When you say yes to everything, you dilute your presence and your impact everywhere. By embracing the boundary-setting framework, knowing your priorities, communicating with radical honesty, and standing firm in your self-worth, you reclaim your power. You stop falling into the common mistakes of over-explaining your choices or caving to the immediate discomfort of social friction. To help you seamlessly lock these habits into your character, here is your practical 30-day action plan. The 30-day boundary blueprint. Days 1 to 10. The awareness phase, focus strictly on the daily boundary check in your reflection journal. Don't worry about forcing a confrontation yet. Simply observe where your time is leaking and identify your primary people-pleasing triggers. Days 11 to 20. The micro-assertiveness phase. Start practicing your refusal skills in low-stakes environments. Say no to one unnecessary committee meeting. Decline an optional social invite that doesn't excite you, and confidently voice your small preferences, like where to eat or what to watch. Days 21 to 30. The fortification phase. Step into the professional and personal arenas. Protect your focused work hours fiercely on your calendar. Deploy the broken record technique against persistent requesters, and handle guilt trips with calm, unyielding honesty. Thank you so much for listening to this comprehensive audiobook summary. If you found these strategies valuable and are ready to stop being taken for granted, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and drop a comment below sharing the very first boundary you're going to set this week. Your support means the world to us here at The Growth Room. This channel is dedicated entirely to sharing powerful, actionable insights from the world's best books on psychology, assertive communication, high-level productivity, unshakable confidence, and deep personal growth. Our mission is to provide you with the mental tools you need to build a life of intention, success, and profound self-respect. Remember, you're the author of your own story, and you hold the pen. Your time on this earth is finite, beautifully precious, and entirely non-renewable. Guard it like the treasure it is. Stand your ground, honor your energy, and never apologize for protecting the peace you deserve. Keep growing, keep building, and we will see you in the next episode right here in The Growth Room.